All right, guys, you want to be standing over here, looking at the model from this direction, and trust me, it's going to be worth it. Now, I need you to recall our visit to Herodium 2 days ago. At some point, we finished looking at the palace, and we went down through the cisterns and down a whole bunch of steep stairs, and at one point, we arrived at a very big cistern, and I told you to look into it. You saw an opening on the other end and a flight of stairs coming into it, and I told you there's 13 of those at Masada. Now, that's what these doorways are from. These are just the doorways. They lead to the big flight of stairs leading into these big cisterns. Because Herod needs water, but what do you do? I mean, if you don't have water to put in the cisterns and it only rains here 5 times a year, what are you going to do? Herod knows about flash floods. In this, you never can predict when they're going to come, but they are going to happen every now and again. In this area, he knows the flash floods are going to come through that steep, zigzagging ravine over there. And he sends 2 teams of people to dig 13 cisterns on a very slight incline. Then what he does is he builds a dam in that area so that when the flash flood water comes, it diverts the waters of the flash flood into these 2 aqueducts that he has not built. He has dug into the terrain, going down towards all the openings of the cisterns. Now, the system is ready. All he needs to do is wait for a flash flood, and let's see what happens when a flash flood happens. The flash flood is diverted into his aqueduct, which spills all the water automatically into the 13 cisterns. When these cisterns are full, there are 40,000 cubic meters in them, which, just to give you an idea, is enough for 1,000 men to last for another 3 years, even if there was no more flash floods, no more water coming into the cisterns. You get the idea of why Herod is called Herod the Great. He didn't see problems. The guy saw solutions. Whatever he wanted, what nature did not provide, he provided, and he just made things happen. Now, the Romans...
psychological warfare?
Yes, so the Romans down here, they don't have access to this water. They have to go to where we saw the ibex. If you look in the distance, at the bottom of the hills, you can just about see what appears to be a dark patch. That's the green trees of En-Gedi. They only grow there because of that spring of fresh water. And the Romans have no access to these big supplies, so they have to send convoys of camels and donkeys who are doing back and forth all the time from En-Gedi, bringing as much water as they can, but they can't bring enough. So get this, every soldier and every slave and every officer here is limited to a certain amount of, not cups of water per day, sips of water per day. So the Romans and the Jewish slaves working for them are really having a horrible time, while the zealots up here have all the water that Herod, who they hate, provided with his system. Let's just let these people come through. Let's just let these, just step to the side so these people can come through. So basically, the zealots here know that the Romans don't have access to water, and they know how they're dying of thirst. In Herod's western palace, when he quarried the stones for that palace in the shape of a pool right outside the palace, when he was done building it, he just plastered that whole quarry and it became the official pool, and it's full of water. They make sure that they jump into the pool and splash around so that the Romans can hear, we're not just drinking water, we're frolicking, we're enjoying. Feel free to, waste your lives in the desert heat down there, but they really taunt the Romans. Every now and again, they stand on the walls here and they call out to the Romans and they say, hey, we know that you are thirsty. We know that that your tongues are parched and you have not. We are generous men here. They just dump water over the walls of the fortress. Now, they laugh their heads off, but if you're a Roman and you literally are dying of thirst and you can't get enough and you're working in this heat and you're limited and you see them just throw water at your face and laughing, you simmer in hatred and venom and resentment and bitterness, and all this is going to work into the decisions made on the last night of the events of Masada. Now, this is the first place where we can look to where those people are down there. They're getting ready, or as you Texans say, they're fixing to climb the siege ramp that the Romans built. This is not a natural white hill coming up steeply to Masada. That's the Roman siege ramp built there in order to allow them to pull a wooden siege tower up that hill to bring it all the way to the height of the walls, and then the iron battering ram is going to attempt to attack those walls. All right, moving on.